am hustling, 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 hustling,
It's your
hustling,
boy,
hustling,
Ski.
hustling, 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 hustling. Every
Oh, welcome back to the Matrix. You're not just in the Matrix, you are the Matrix. How's it feel, Neo? And today we got ourselves a banger daily market news and analysis. If you're watching live, make sure you spam that like button, hit that share, and hit so other people can spam that like button and hit the share. And if you're watching in post, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell icon so you never miss a video. So let's get right into the action. Top story: President Trump officially signed strategic economic partnership with Saudi Arabia. This is a very, very big deal. Massive low taper fade. Okay. It's hard to overstate how big of a deal that is, but less less of a big deal as the U.S. inflation was lower than expected at 2.3%, and we're seeing the markets really start to take off today because of that, because of the news. Obviously, what this is leading to believe is very soon, which we already know this, Jerome Powell and the Fed is going to start to cut rates, and the money printer is going to start to go, okay. Robinhood acquires Canada's leading crypto trading platform, WonderFi. This is a big deal. Robinhood is, people don't really know this, but Robinhood is one of the largest holders of Bitcoin in the world. Okay, they're not really viewed that way, but that's the facts of the matter. They've been accumulating Bitcoin for a long time. They are, kind of OGs in this space, realistically. So this is, not everything is something, or excuse me, everything is something, but not everything is, but nothing is everything, Jesus. But this is definitely something in the right direction. Another domino just falling. The SEC has delayed Grayscale Spot Solana ETF. So we'll see about that. The spot is the bigger deal than the leverage. We've talked about this before. What we see with XRP and Bitcoin, the leverage ETF really didn't mean that much, but the spot ETF is when you start to see real inflows and buying pressure, and you start to see the supply squeeze. So definitely rooting for this. We'll see. Eventually it's going to get done. The question is when. Just in, Ethereum broke 2,700. You guys know I've been publicly bullish on Ethereum since, what was it at, like 1,500? I said one of two things is happening. Either A, Ethereum is really dead, or B, Ethereum is going to bounce from here. My vote was the bounce, and not only was that my vote, I voted with my dollars. As you can see, I put it on long at 1788, 3x long, not 30x, not 300. You don't need crazy amounts of leverage. I keep saying it. I say it again and again and again. You do not need crazy amounts of leverage in this space to make crazy amounts of gains. The reason you do crazy amounts of leverage, this is a futures way of viewing things, because the S&P does not give you this crazy amounts of volatility. Crypto does. So you don't need 30x leverage to get 150% gains. You see it. And this isn't even up to date. You seen it. Justin, Trump says, it's amazing what rising markets will do. It's going to get a whole lot higher. Thailand plans to offer grade crypto token to the public. Again, more dominoes are falling. And this is a live representation of these dominoes that are falling. Boring until it is not. Slowly, surely, and then suddenly. And that's what we are seeing. And let's get into the charts and the crypto. We're going to talk about Bitcoin, of course, Ethereum, XRP, and then we're going to get into you guys' questions, comments, and concerns. So Bitcoin had a little bit of a pullback. We said 100,000 would be the key level. We got to 100.89. That's about as close as you get. All dips are for buying in this market, in my opinion. Okay, you got to be ready for them. You got to have your limit orders in, because retail has not woken up to the fact yet. We are now in an uptrend. Okay, we have been in a downtrend since November through April. We were in a downtrend, and I've talked about this ad nauseum. When Bitcoin breaks a downtrend, it does it slowly and then suddenly. I am not going to be greedy about my entry points. We have clearly broken a downtrend. We are now making higher highs and higher lows. 100K was what I was anticipating. We got 100.9. I don't know what you want from me, okay? And then this is what it looks like. When Bitcoin breaks a downtrend, it's grueling and then suddenly, okay? Here we go again. In 2022, downtrend, grueling, and then suddenly, okay? That's the next phase. Are we going to have dips? Are we going to have pullbacks? Absolutely, positively, unequivocally, undeniably. We will have dips. We will have pullbacks. It's not going to be a straight line up. However, all dips, in my opinion, from now until we break this uptrend are for buying. And the next thing is going to be grueling, and then suddenly. What does the suddenly look like? That looks like $118,000. The amount of liquidity that's going to flow in the market between Bitcoin going from 105 to 118,000, not a lot, a percentage, I got it. But the percentage that's going to rotate into the alts is going to be astronomical. As we look at Bitcoin dominance clearly on a tear to the downside, okay? And clearly, again, it didn't even do this macro thing. It's already making lower highs and lower lows. It's already in a downtrend. This is clearly distribution. We've been charting this. We've been marking this out for months now. Okay, we've been talking about this. Buying climax, up thrust goes higher than the buying climax. UTAD goes higher than the up thrust. We have been talking about this ad nauseum. But it is finally happening. And phase C finally looks like it's here. And we're perhaps working on phase D already. Okay? And this is what we need. The stipulation for all season is what? Two things must be true at the same time. Number one thing that must be true. Bitcoin must be making an all-time high. The stipulation is there. It's flirting with it right now, currently. And stipulation number two is Bitcoin dominance must be falling. That also is happening. Okay? So Bitcoin flirting with an all-time high right now. Much closer than you might think, especially when we look at the strength of these daily candles. It's already there. And Bitcoin dominance is already falling. Okay? Again, it's not going to be a straight line up. There's going to be red days. There's going to be pullbacks. There's going to be legs higher on, Bitcoin dominance. But the trend is there. Trend is your friend. Okay? Trend is your friend. Ethereum clearly has gotten its sign of strength at this point. I've been talking about this ad nauseum, but Ethereum to me is a beat behind Bitcoin, and that is very clear. Like, I put my money where my mouth is. I went long on Ethereum at 1,700. I said Ethereum is either A, actually dead, or B, it's going to bounce. My vote was B, and that is where I put my money. That is what I was anticipating, and then we can see it clearly that it is, in fact, a beat behind Bitcoin. So let's show it over here. Let me get on the right chart here. Jesus. What is happening? All right, on the top is Ethereum. On the bottom is Bitcoin. And then you have the same structure here, but Bitcoin is just slightly ahead, okay? And I've marked the key levels here, all right? So you have your markdown, your downtrend, your markdown, your downtrend. You go into accumulation, Wyckoff accumulation, selling climax, secondary test, spring. That's exactly what Ethereum got here. That is a bottoming structure. That is a textbook bottoming structure. Okay, that's what we got in April. That's why I was confident April 7th that the bottom was in, because we got our bottoming structure. This is the bottoming structure. That's what we got. Then we see Bitcoin breaks above it, chops a little bit here at the trend. Ethereum breaks above it, chops a little bit at the trend here, moves to the sign of strength, which was to the retracement, moves to the sign of strength, which is to the retracement. We're just shy of that. Chop a little bit, and then you start your phase E. In my opinion, that is what Ethereum is about to start. It'll probably take it to about 3,300. That's where I'm going to be de-risking from my trade. Mostly, I've already de-risked a lot on Ethereum. That's where I'm going to mostly exit that trade. fully. When we look at, I want to look at XRP. XRP is looking very, very good. I also had a trade on that. It closed out at $2.57. I rode that from, I don't remember what it was, but it was 67%. Same thing, same structure as Ethereum. 2, selling climax, your spring goes lower. You're in a downtrend, you break your downtrend, you start to make higher highs, higher lows. Every single chart, here's the brass tacks of it. Every single chart looks exactly the same. Why do they all look the same? Because they have the same market makers. Okay? They have the same market makers. That's the brass tacks truth. And guess what? They're all going to do the same thing at the same time. Everything, everywhere, all at the same time. Are there going to be outliers? Are there going to be, one coin up is 50% and one coin's up 5%? Sure. But generally, the market is going to do the same thing at the same time. And the market is looking very bullish, very promising. I'm keeping my eye on things. Any dips in the market from now until we break the downtrend are for buying. I will be longing. But let me know in the comments if you're watching post. Make sure you guys like, subscribe. If you're watching live, let's get into your guys' comments, questions, and concerns.